Sujata Sen was born Suzanne Alexandra Curtil in Paris on 13th December 1896. She was born to Jeannie Curtil and her father Gabriel Sursac, the son of a prominent banking family in Beirut. In Suzanne's youth, she was thought to be tongue-tied because she spoke so little. Her parents feared a speech impediment and sought medical intervention. At the age of 6, Suzanne was operated on, though the surgery did nothing to remedy the silence of her early years. Although she rarely spoke, she demonstrated a gift for languages and would go on to become fluent in 5 languages. At the age of 7, Suzanne fell ill with diphtheria and nearly succumbed to the disease. While convalescing, her little brother Gabriel came down with the same disease. When meningitis additionally set in, the doctors gave up and the boy's mother could only take him to the church, placing before the image of the Madonna and pray to Mary to save her son. But later that night he died. Suzanne was taken to the room where the body of her brother lay. When the veil was lifted, she saw death for the first time. The family's tragedy did not end there, however. Soon afterwards, Suzanne's father, en route to Vienna to take up a diplomatic post, fell sick on the train and had to be taken off at a small station. A local doctor diagnosed his condition as acute appendicitis and performed an emergency surgery in the station waiting room. Lacking proper antiseptic conditions, her father died from infection a few days later. Amidst such suffering at a young age, Suzanne was confronted with deep existential questions regarding life and death and the purpose of this earthly journey. Though Suzanne's mother, Jeannie, was descended from French nobility, no money remained in the family, and she went to work to support her daughter's education. The girl was discovered to have multiple talents, chief among them her gift for dance. Her mother worked to support her training in dance, and at the age of 8, Suzanne was accepted as a pupil at the prestigious ballet school of the Paris Opera House. This became her greatest joy, but her mother feared the economic viability of life as a dancer and steered Suzanne toward medical studies instead. Suzanne did not dare revolt, but followed her mother's wishes, and by her late teens, she had enrolled in pre-medical school, standing first in her class. Though her mother had been a devout Catholic in her youth, she had been alienated from the church by her divorce from an abusive man she had been briefly married to prior to meeting Suzanne's father. Hence, Suzanne's exposure to the church was limited, but already demonstrating a keen, searching spirit for the things beyond this world. In her teen years, she sought comfort with the theosophists. The organization's guiding principle, that there is no religion higher than truth, suited her rationalistic bent and the quest from her youth to understand why we were on this earth. In 1917, the Countess of Prozor, a prominent theosophist and a patroness of the arts, sought to assist Suzanne at a critical time and to encourage her in pursuing dance. She wrote to her, "You are a true artist. By studying, are you not wasting precious time? You are already 20. You should know what you want to do and devote yourself to it entirely." In medical school at the Sorbonne, Suzanne's sensitivity to suffering prompted her to side with the anti-vivisectionist students, protesting the cruelty of live animal dissection in the classroom. It was during these years that she began to advocate for the disenfranchised, the poor, the women, and the socially marginalized. In 1923, she was awarded an MD, dedicating her doctoral dissertation to her mother, who had worked so hard to finance her schooling. Suzanne did her postgraduate work in tropical medicine, already thrilled by the mystique of the East through her theosophical experiences, and attracted by the idea of going to live in India. As it turned out, the opportunity would come the following year. Having befriended two eminent theosophists, George Arundel and his Brahmin wife, Rukmini Devi, Suzanne was invited to the Jubilee Convention of the Theosophist Society to be held at Adyar in December of 1925. At the Star Camp of 1924, Suzanne got to hear J. Krishnamurti for the first time in a talk that impacted her so profoundly that she was convinced she should join the convention in India the following year. In early November of 1925, Suzanne sailed for India on the Pilsner to attend the Jubilee Convention at Adyar. Here she made important contacts and began to experience the richness of her newfound home. She stayed on after the convention, and the following month she met a high priest of the Theravada order of Buddhist monks from Sri Lanka, who had come to inaugurate a small Buddhist temple in the Theosophical Society's compound. Sri Jainaswami, known as Swamiji, had been sent to India by the Mahasangha Raja Sabha of the United Buddhist World and impressed Suzanne as someone of spiritual attainment. Suzanne already had exposure to Buddhist ideas through theosophical writings, but Swamiji opened a whole new world for her. He began to see her not only as a convert to Buddhism, but potentially as a nun in the Buddhist order. This was no small thing, since women had not been allowed to enter the Sri Lankan Theravada order for 800 years. When Suzanne expressed interest, a formal proposal was made to the order's authorities in Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, and the response was positive. This seemed to highlight for Swamiji a point he regularly made in public Dharma discourses, that there was no discrimination of any kind in Buddhism based on caste, race, or gender. The necessary hurdles were overcome, and Suzanne took monastic initiation, having her head shaved, receiving the robe and bowl and novice name Sujata. She took the 10 precepts, among them the following: I vow to abstain from the thought of taking the life of any living being. I vow to abstain from the thought of taking anything with thievish intent. I vow to abstain from the thought of sexual misconduct of any kind of impurity. I vow to abstain from the thought of telling lies and of slander. I vow to abstain from the thought of taking intoxicating drinks or any other intoxicating substances which might hinder the perfection of wisdom. I shall live with a concentrated mind, enlightened with intuitive powers. I shall live a supreme life, such as the saints and arahantas. With the completion of the Pabaja ceremony, Sujata became a fully ordained Buddhist nun. Following her induction into the order, Swamiji taught her Pali as well as traditional techniques in meditation. She likewise learned to beg for food, accepting whatever was put into her bowl. Very soon after her ordination, Swamiji sent her as a representative of the Mahasangha Raja Sabha to petition for unity among various Buddhist orders, first to the Indian Himalayan district, and then to His Holiness the Dalai Lama in Tibet. She was to request the Dalai Lama to be a joint patron with His Holiness the Thada Nanabang Sayadaw of the Mahasangha Raja Sabha. Sujata thus hoped to join a caravan that was due to leave for Tibet 3 weeks later. This gave her very little time to organize permits. For this, she called on her theosophist contacts who were on friendly terms with the governor of Bengal in order to help in obtaining an official permit. However, the time available was too short to secure the valid permission.